And welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast. It's episode 62. I'm your very loud air conditioner host, JD. Actually, it's a heater, but also joined by the beautiful ready man, Joey.
Hello.
Colin, you're also here.
Yes, I am. Newly minted 32-year-old.
Ooh, welcome to the club.
You're a little late on that club, Colin, but we welcome you nonetheless.
Yeah, 32
3 weeks
years
ahead of you.
32 years since I was cut out of my mom's womb.
That's one way to look at it. You could also thank your parents for having sex 32 years and 9 months prior.
I'll thank the doctor instead for not killing my mom. Because what I said was actually true.
I think I'm a
Doctors are known for killing mothers?
Doctors are known for performing C-sections.
Oh, that part.
Yes.
On occasion, yes.
Depends on the situation.
Well, speaking of pregnancy, I found out a little interesting fact over the course of the past week.
Yes.
Did you know most women poop while they give birth?
Yes.
What?
Yeah?
How could it happen? You ruined all my illusions!
Yeah, they really let one out, so to say. They give 2 births. There's a lot of these I wrote down, but I'm not going to go through them all.
They've also been known to dislocate the vertebrae in men's necks if they manage to get their arm around them. That's a true fact, by the way.
You ruined the romanticy of pregnant or giving birth now, Judy. How dare you? How it's so romantic and clean and peaceful. Destroyed that.
Well, this is why, if I ever have a child, I will not be present. I will be at the nearest bar with you, Joey, drinking scotch and... Well, I won't be smoking a cigar, but you can bet your ass that'll be in my hand, and I will be laughing with you and enjoying life.
Or you're hopping on a plane and flying far, far away.
Well, I mean, I would imagine you would come and drink a bunch of scotch with me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. See, I like this 1950s illusionary idea I have. It sounds way better than waiting in a hospital for like 20 hours.
Just kicking back, wearing a suit and a fedora. The brim shadowing your eyes. Like
commenting on the beautiful scotch, fingers dripping down the glass, going, yes, this would be perfect to drink with my child in 21 years. 18 if the plan goes that I'm in a country not the United States. Anyways, we are doing bullet hells today. Really thought about postponing this one again. Because I don't know if you haven't noticed, but Kevin is absent again.
Yeah. He's disloyal. Cast him out.
Yes, he's got his wedding coming up, so he's got to save money and make more. So he's, for the time being, he has a part-time job on Sunday mornings, which really conflicts with this podcast.
Boo.
And I'm not paying him enough.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
No.
We're being paid in exposure.
Oh, I'm not even getting any of that.
So we're still doing bullet hell nonetheless. Got, what did we decide? 5 games? I think 5. I played 5.
I
thought there was only
2,
4.
Watched the other 3.
Joey, did you forget about our last-minute amazing weeb game that we played at the end?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well, you're going to love hearing about it nonetheless.
I know I was forgetting something.
Well, I am currently at a hotel in just outside Portland, Maine, because I went snowboarding all weekend, followed by a wrestling show last night. So, made a really bad fall. Hurt my tailbone pretty bad. Got a big bruise on my butt.
Ouch. I hate those.
Yeah. Well, you know, had a couple beers at lunchtime, got a little bit more brave. I'm like, I'm ready with this new board to tackle the black diamonds and the double black diamonds. Ha! What a almost fool I was. And then I was a fool. I was like, man, I'm just tearing this up. This is great. Oh no, losing control.
I know the feeling.
So yeah, I went to Sugarloaf Mountain in Maine. I have officially snowboarded basically all of New England except Rhode Island, where there is a mountain. So that's kind of funny. And this mountain, I could not recommend it enough. It was the best I've snowboarded in many years. Just every slope was carved out nice powder. None of the lifts had longer than like a 3-minute wait. In many cases, I just got to the bottom and went right back on a chair.
Cool.
Yeah, it might have something to do with being in the middle of Northwest Maine, but and not many people go. But a lot of people speak highly of the mountainside, and it definitely lives up to it. It was an easy drive straight up the 95 highway, and then whatever 295 or whatever the side roads are. But yeah, good stuff. The wrestling show last night was a lot of fun. I got to sit down and made sure I didn't lean back too far, so I hit the bruise on my butt.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. It's a weekend I've made for myself. It was a blast. What did you guys do?
Had family over for my birthday.
Oh, also, family with your birthday? Such a copycat.
Tell that to literally everybody else.
I mean, I'm lucky I got to see my family for my birthday, aka just my mom. It's the first time in like 4 years.
Well, we also did the Ontario Place Light Festival happening right now.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah, I mean, the light displays themselves are fine, but for me it was more of a trip down memory lane, since Ontario Place was a source of fun for me way back when. At least until Canada's Wonderland entered my consciousness.
Has the Winter Solstice Festival happened in Toronto yet?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I don't know. Because I remember going to that my first year there, and it felt like the Canadian version of Burning Man, except nothing was on fire that's like 70,000 feet tall. But there was certainly a lot of people around a giant burning object, smoking weed and getting hammered.
Well, the blockades have been dominating the news, so I haven't really heard about it.
Blockades, you say?
Yeah, there's a bit of a dispute going on with a pipeline being built through some indigenous land, and majority of the leaders of the indigenous tribe in question are in support of it, but half of the hereditary chiefs are against it, and as a result, a lot of people are rising up in solidarity and blocking railways all across the country. So it's choking our economy.
Oh, fun.
And we're waiting
for
some
this, like Nova Scotia?
All over the place. There's Ontario, there's Quebec, Alberta. Oh. I mean, the pipeline itself is supposed to be built in, like, northern BC. But
that proposal. I do remember this. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been dominating our headlines. But on a personal note, I also went for a job interview this week because, like I said last time, I got laid off.
Well, Colin, I'm sorry I don't pay you enough where you have to find an outside job. Okay. I mean, you don't need to guilt trip me over here.
Well, you should be sorry.
I have snowboard trips I need to pay for myself. I can't just be afford paying some Canadian to be on the podcast.
So when are we going to get this exposure?
You're getting it right now.
You're in the internship phase, Joey.
Take it and go.
So I need to get you guys coffees?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad. Well, yeah, come up to Maine and get me another one right now.
No, just put it through the monitor.
That technology will exist. You just wait.
It will, eventually.
Instant transportation made specifically just for Joey to get us coffee.
Elon Musk, get on it. In any case, the interview went pretty well, although funny enough, according to what the interviewers told the employment center staff, because that's where it took place, this is like a thing set up by the college in town. They said, I have promising experience, but they were concerned I was too nice, in that I may have a hard time dealing with gruff coworkers. So how funny is that?
Oh my god.
How funny is that? Even by Canadian standards, I'm too nice.
Colin, that might be...
Wow.
That might be worth going to, like, a therapist or something if Canadians are concerned for your niceness.
That's... Wow.
I'm already on it. I'm reading the book No More Mr. Nice Guy.
I mean, you could just continue to do this podcast with... See, that should have been your retort. Nice! I do a podcast with this guy named Kevin and Colin. Or Kevin and Joey, Jesus. Kevin and Joey. I'm definitely not too nice.
Especially not when Kingdom Hearts is involved.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, you don't retort enough. Maybe you are too nice.
Thing is, I have to write my witty retorts down ahead of time when I have to predict what you're gonna say, which
Improv
honestly
class.
isn't too hard.
Definitely improv class. Highly recommend. Acting school. Acting!
Eventually, when I have time.
Well, fingers crossed for you, Colin. I am so much in a daze. This coffee has not kicked in yet. That much is clear. Joey,
Yeah.
how you been?
I'm good. I mean, starting to be crawfish season, so I went to a little birthday Mardi Gras crawfish cook-off yesterday at someone's place, and I'm going for more crawfish today. So, you know, it's a good time.
Oh, those mud bugs. I miss them.
So delicious.
Colin, have you ever had a crawfish, mudbug, or whatever word you want to use to identify with such a creature?
Never had them.
They're so good.
So spicy and nice. Especially when you suck the brains out of their skull.
Of course, sucking the brains is kind of mandatory if you want the good spice.
Some regular Starship Troopers shit right there.
You got to. It's the only... What other animal can you suck the head and people go, that is the right thing to do? That means two things. Haha! Just realized that. Okay. Joey, what have you been playing?
Satisfactory. They came out with Update 3 as the factory building game. They came out with a huge update, so now they have Futurama-style traveling tubes. They rebalance a lot of the recipes to make things, added a whole lot of new, cool-looking stuff, so I got back into it, and it's so much fun. And I just can't stop playing. I think I've already played like 20 hours of the past week. Woo. So,
Man after my own heart.
And it's addicting, but it's a lot of fun.
That's like me with Oxygen Not Included. When the full retail game came out, they had all the different levels and how fast I could beat them. So addicting.
This one is not even like completely out, still early access.
Ah, damn it.
So it's coming to Steam soon. So I'm probably gonna buy it again when it comes to Steam because I don't really like the Epic launcher. But they have to do a lot of things to make it ready for Steam, and they don't. Their contract with Epic ends on March 19th, so it should be coming soon. I think there's going to be 2 more updates before the game is officially released, but it's a lot of fun. If you like building factories and optimizing lines, making sure everything is nice and balanced, and you can slowly destroy the world.
It does sound like a Pinky in the Brain type satisfactory game.
Well, they don't have any repercussions to using coal power plants, or oil-based power, or nuclear power. Like, there's no incentive to go green, kind of like a Factoria. I think you can piss off things and they attack if you go to pollution. This one doesn't care. You just build massive, massive factories, and you just keep building. And you just keep going until you run out of resources. But the resource nodes are unlimited. So the only restriction is how many nodes there are. And how fast your conveyor belts go.
I suppose you could be like, well, the world's platinum supply has finally diminished.
Because I have no more nodes, and my belt speeds are maxed out. I can't do anything else. That's the only issues you run into. But they added a new starting area, so that's where I started with my game in the middle of the desert. And they added a thing where you can get a coffee cup and drink coffee, even though you're wearing a space helmet. But you still have the sound, and even one of the times it just clinks against your helmet. So I don't know how your character's drinking coffee, but he's drinking coffee.
Maybe he's doing the dark helmet thing and tipping it through his little breathing filter.
Could be. And they added a Easter egg because there's these, you get tickets in game, and then you can buy stuff at the ticket store to unlock things, and you have to put it through. I don't really know the actual name of this. I call it the grinder. Put things into the grinder to get points to get tickets. If you put a ticket into the grinder, then you get what they call the Cyber Wagon, which is the Cybertruck from Tesla, but it has square wheels and it looks hilarious. And I want to unlock that. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool.
What you got, Colin?
Oh, quite a few. I finally beat Blasphemous.
Ooh, congratulations. Must have been a trying experience of awesomeness and macabre.
Yeah. Although both the bad and good endings are both downers. But considering the bleak setting and premise, I expect no different.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, you played that game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would the ending be happy?
Yeah, really.
Well, what was the ending? I'm very curious.
In the bad ending, you're climbing up this big hill of ash, and then you get absorbed into the ash, and then that guy with the spiral mask who's been giving you the exposition the whole game pulls your helmet off and sticks it in with the rest of the penitent corpses.
Ooh.
And the good ending, you climb the same pile of ash, but make it to the top, and then you stab yourself with your sword, and then become a tree, and then people speak to the dreaded miracle through you. And that's kind of it. Until one of your rivals comes along and then pulls the sword back out. So, yeah. Shitty endings all around.
What does the sword represent again?
It's like you're absorbing your guilt or some such thing. Because there's like a thorn in it, and then whenever you kill the guilt-absorbing statues and do the accompanying trials, it gets bigger and bigger.
So the dude that pulls the sword out kind of opens this up for a sequel.
Possibly.
I like those endings. I like both those. Either you die and kind of the cycle of life repeats itself, or literally the cycle of life has been born. That's pretty cool. I like both those endings.
Yeah, more or less. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the lore in the same way that it is with Dark Souls. But in any case, speaking of macabre, I also started up God of War 3 for the first time. And it's pretty fun. I mean, the kills are even more brutal this time around.
Yeah, they definitely went a little more over the top with God of War 3.
I mean, one of your items you get by Kratos literally ripping off one of the god's heads while he's still alive.
Yeah, it's Helios, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you use his head to, like, uncover secrets and shit. And then do big flashes of light to blind enemies. And the extra hardware capabilities behind the game really help capture the real feeling of epic scale. Like when the Titans are climbing Olympus and Kratos is fighting off Poseidon's minions at the beginning.
Yeah, they went hardcore cinematic with God of War 3. I believe this was after Uncharted 2 had come out.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And this led to a lot of games kind of, I don't want to say the word disembark, but I'll just say it anyways. Like, disembark from what made their franchise as popular as it was, or get a head start on the field. And then when Uncharted 2 came out and won all those awards and kind of took advantage of what a cinematic story could be, it seems games like God of War, Killzone 3 comes to mind. They all went in that direction. And even God of War kind of fell off until this Valhalla came out, right? But even then, it's still very cinematic based. Kind of set a standard to it. And Killzone 3 and God of War 3 were kind of the first ones that come out of it. At least that's how my memory remembers it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. But yeah, the game is pure testosterone fuel, topped only by Doom 2016. So, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Oh, speaking of Doom, I got to see... I didn't get to play any, but I did get to see some very early access for Doom Eternal.
Yeah. How was that?
It's, man. You know my feelings of Doom of 2016. It's not for me, but it was a, kick-ass game nonetheless. Eternal really just ramps up that tenfold over.
Oh, hell yeah. All the previews I've been seeing. Frickin' amazing.
Yeah, I'm next to this guy playing it, and his fast twitch muscle fibers were just on fire. It was pretty nuts, like, how fast you are to react in this game. Like, I think I could do it, but it would definitely be on, like, an easy mode.
Yeah, takes practice.
Yeah, it was quite nuts. There's a grappling hook in it, so clearly Game of the Year contender already. I mean, that is the rule. Joey?
Yeah.
That is the rule, right?
Is it? I don't follow Game of the Year. I can tell you the last couple of games of the year.
Well, anyways, that's a separate topic. But yes, if the rule is, if your game has a grappling hook, it's already a contender. Whether the game is good or not comes secondary. But yeah, that was Doom Eternal. It looks like it's even better than I think what people have in their heads already.
Yep, I'm buying it day one for sure.
I mean, I'll definitely play it. I got to play it for the podcast. We'll see how terrible I am at the game. I'm not good at first person shooters, especially with how far they've come.
I love first person shooters.
Yes, you do, Joey.
Well, we'll see. Speaking of shooters, I have been revisiting Enter the Gungeon, just because Bullet Hell with dungeon crawling roguelike mechanics, and I'm more consistently able to beat the second boss now. So, I guess all those hard ass bosses in Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC made me more skilled.
I like that game. I just am not good at it at all.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't play it too often. I have it in Steam. I play like 20 minutes here, maybe 30 minutes there, then I get angry because I suck.
Yeah, there's a lot of different gameplay things to keep track of, so I don't blame you. Especially if you're a newcomer to the series. Or are you talking Enter the Gungeon?
Enter the Gungeon.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, it's a very specific type of game. But yeah, the more weapons you unlock, the more fun it gets.
That's true.
I also saw the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Do tell.
Pretty much met my expectation. Fun family popcorn flick with plenty of Easter eggs for longtime fans. Although, it has a surprising amount of heart to it as well. I mean, it's no Land Before Time or Disney's Aladdin, but it's worth watching. I mean,
it's no critically acclaimed Steven Spielberg movie, but it's fine.
God. Well, you got to compare it to its contemporaries, video game movies. How many video game movies are actually good?
Yeah, really.
I like Resident Evil.
Okay, one franchise, but they kind of tail off too. You have like maybe one or two good movies in there, and then they just kept pushing things out.
Mario movie. Super Mario Brothers movie. That's a classic.
That's good
For all
for
the
other
wrong
reasons.
reasons.
Yeah. It's barely related to Mario.
Yeah. People were kind of mixed about Prince of Persia, but nobody liked the
I liked Prince of Persia. I don't care what people say.
Nobody seemed to like the Assassin's Creed movie.
That one was weird.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
I like the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Street Fighter one yet. But
I think I saw it. I don't remember much about it, so that should tell you.
Probably for the best. So they
yeah,
exist.
I like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I mean, Sonic himself is a surprisingly interesting character in this one. And there were a few moments that legitimately got a chuckle out of me. And I left the theater with a smile on my face, so I'd say it was time well spent.
Well, at least they changed the character design. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, for sure. It's much easier on the eyes.
Not this monstrosity that children would be scarred with for life, thinking it'd come out of their closet and just be like, "Hey, you got a hot dog?"
Gotta go fast. Yeah, I freely admit it's entirely possible my feelings towards the movie may be colored by the fact that the studio actually listened to the fans. But hey, I'd rather have my feelings colored in a positive direction than a negative one.
Sure. Here.
And they did leave it open for a sequel. So I'm looking forward to that, although I'm curious how they're gonna handle making it, because the animation studio that animated Sonic got shut down after the movie was completed.
Ah, what a success they must have had.
Fun fact, that same animation studio animated all the Pokemon in Detective Pikachu as well.
Something tells me it's not cost-effective business that they're running over there.
Man, I think they just constantly get screwed, like a lot of companies like that. Hollywood doesn't care. They use you up and spit you out.
Pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been playing.
I'll just move on to mine then, because I got a lot to talk about here.
Go for it.
I've been focusing on... I kind of promised myself for 2020 I want to beat and finish some franchises and games that are like 50% done. Because I tend to play... I play 2 hours, maybe half the game, and then I go, I'm going to play something else. So the games that I really want to actually finish, I kind of made a loose list. And, of course, that means Ubisoft put on Division 2 for $3 on sale. And I went, you know what? I got a lot of problems with that game, but for $3, it's not that big a deal. They're ramping up for the next, like, New York DLC that they're coming out.
Yeah?
Yeah, so till March 2nd, the game's like $3. You can go to GameStop, get a hard copy on your PS4 or Xbox for about $4, 4 or 5. So it's very affordable.
Nice.
And then if you pre-order the DLC, which for Division 1, the DLC was kind of like the saving grace of the game. Because the sheer amount of content that they added and improved upon the game. So... could be a good bet that this is going to add a lot to the Division 2, because the difference between 2 and 1 for the Division was 2 was definitely a more complete game at launch. A lot more people were happy with it. So if you're into looter shooters, if you're into kind of more, it's, the story is what you would expect about like a government shutdown and getting it back up and running kind of deal, and the virus from New York. So I expect this DLC is going to start harping on the virus again, get I guess it's the dead zone or the red zone or whatever they want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys
Interesting.
remember hearing about it. So you can pre-order the DLC for, I think it's like 15% off. So
cool.
There's that. Epic Games is having Assassin's Creed Syndicate for free right now, so might check that out. But really, I played last weekend, after I finished all the bullet hell games, I finally finished Yakuza 0.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Quite good. The game. So, I did not finish the cabaret side story minigame fiasco. Yeah, I know. I shut down.
You left us hanging, man.
I shut down 2 out of 4 of the other clubs. Took over all their customers. Even took their star women from their club, made them mine. So Majima really got his club going on, but I just got to that point where I went, you know what? Gotta finish this game. I can only hit the batting cages so much. Can only bowl so many perfect games. Impress my my girlfriend at the bowling alley. Can only do that for so long. I will say the Monopoly financial side story game that Kiryu has, I found that incredibly boring. There's just a lot of dialogue, and it wasn't all that engaging. Because the whole purpose of making money in the game is to upgrade your character and get new moves and skills. And since I felt like I got to the point where all the battles are going to kind of be the same, I'm just like, I gotta beat this. So, completed Yakuza 0. Majima, of course, falls in love with the woman he was supposed to assassinate for the Yakuza group he's a part of. Of course, it's revealed that this woman is the owner of the plot of land all the Yakuza wants to get a hold of, and of course, it's a lot of cliches that you see coming, but it was still very engaging story-wise. She wants to do it on her own. Her brother dies. She wants revenge, so she's like, "I'll sell you this land, but for the heads of your lieutenants." And they're just like, "You know what? You don't need to be alive." And they shoot her, and she doesn't die, which she certainly should have. But they actually had a good save for it. So it's always just like, we got her to the hospital in time, or this and that. They actually went, yes, this guy wanted her alive, so he had the assassin shoot her in a specific place, so she wouldn't die. That would allow enough time easily for her to not just lose enough blood, but also motivate the other characters to lure them to like the secret hideout of their group. So, and the last boss battle was really epic with one of the lieutenants. You're on a boat deck, and with all the moves that you finally learned, it just created this epic beat 'em up battle that I haven't experienced in quite some time. It was a very so gameplay wise, it was a very, very satisfying ending. Just the how the game kind of closed out and setting up how the franchise started, because Yakuza 0 is the prologue to everything of the mainline series. So Majima has basically a mental breakdown because he thinks she died and all this, and realizes that he can't be with her, so he basically loses his mind in so many ways, and that kind of sets up his really, really goofball, just psychotic character that the mainline series has, namely Kiwami and Kiwami 2.
Ah, interesting.
Not the best way to set up, but you can put the pieces together. It's just how much he broke down isn't really fleshed out. And then, as for Kiryu, kind of just life moves on situation.
Oh, yeah.
He just continues to work his way up. He's back in the Yakuza situation. And then it really focuses on Makoto, the main character girl, and how where she went with her life, right? She ends up like getting engaged to some doctor guy who, anyways. So beat that, and then on Sunday, I proceeded to beat half of Yakuza Kiwami in a single sitting.
Oh, yeah?
So Yakuza Kiwami is the remake of the remaster of the first game in the Yakuza 0 engine. And this takes place 7 years after Yakuza 0.
All
So
right.
Kiryu and his buddy have worked their way up through the Yakuza. Kiryu's just about to become like a full-fledged lieutenant, get his own family. And his buddy, his best friend, is kind of like, he's kind of joking, you beat me again. You're always beating me to the punch, right? He's always getting promoted before him, right? Or doing fantastical new things. And they introduce a new woman, and I wish they would have mentioned her in Yakuza 0, because she's a big deal. She's kind of a big deal for Kiwami. Like, Kiryu's in love with her. They grew up at the orphanage together, all three of them. Like, I was like, this girl was not mentioned at all in Yakuza 0. Like, all he had to do was be like, oh, well, you know, she just hasn't moved to the city, or, you know, something, right? She just did not exist in Yakuza 0. I thought that was a big misstep, considering events that happened in Kiwami. But right away, the big thing is this woman is taken by one of the big patriarchs of the Yakuza, and Kiryu's buddy like races over there and shoots this guy dead. Right? So he's fucked. And by take the woman, like, he was going to make her his. In so many words. And Kiryu sees him with the gun over the body. His the girl he's in love with that grew up together, she's like traumatized. Like, totally. And he goes, get out of here. And he takes the fall for him. And then 10 years pass, cuts to 2005. So it's pretty cool seeing the time change in the games from the 80s and 0, the mid-90s, and then to 2005, where now cell phones and all this shit's starting to come. So Kiryu gets out of prison, and all the events that have changed. His best friend going into kind of this self-absorbed madness is really cool. And as you play the game, it reveals how he became so unhinged and so self-absorbed in his success. What happened to the girl, and of course she ends up having a kid, and the kid actually plays the big role in Kiryu and her connection to all this money that the Yakuza has gone missing, and there's infighting, and that's how the game plays out. It has the story in Kiwami, I think, is better than 0. The side missions and sub stories in Yakuza 0 were way better. Makes sense because it's a much later game. But Kiwami's experience system and level up system was way better. I didn't have to make all this money to get experience. You just have an experience bar that you spend your experience points on. There's no real sub stories or side stories. They're just ways to get more experience, which isn't necessary at all. It's just kind of filler side content. But the thing it does really well is Majima plays their reason for Kiryu being like, they say because he's been in prison for 10 years, he's completely rusty at all his fighting techniques. He's not the same guy he was 10 years ago. So that's their reason for having to get all the experience points. And then his fourth fighting style, his main one, is unlocked through facing Majima, where he just stalks you around town and does kooky shit. So you can like go bowling with him. At one point, he gets a girl to lure you in a bar, gets you absolutely trashed, and then he's behind the bar going, "You owe like $1 million." I don't have $1 million. Well, you're just gonna have to fight me then. So it does a lot of things like that. The comedy is just spot on in that aspect. The story really has a just fantastic ending. This series is not afraid to kill people off. Take some balls. You don't get a lot of that in many video games. Like Gears of War, I swear I've seen the same 3 people die twice over, and they're just like, nope, they're still alive, or they're still in the game, characters come back, whatever, right? Yeah, Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami have no qualms about killing off a main character for the sake of continuing the story and the plot line of what needs to happen. It's very satisfying. So, I started a little bit of Yakuza Kiwami 2, just to get the story going. vastly different game, like immediately from feel and look. So we'll see how that works out. I'm having a blast. I can't wait to keep playing this franchise. It hasn't gotten old because it's a beat 'em up with a very fantastical cinematic story involved. So maybe when the very first Yakuza finally qualifies for the podcast, we'll have to all play it.
Cool.
On its PS2 counterpart.
When did it come out?
December 2006, I think.
Huh.
So
in 2022.
Yeah.
Or no, December 2005, I think.
So then next year?
So this winter, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here. Just looking up real quick. Remake of Yakuza. Remaster. Yeah, December 2005. That's when the Japanese version came out. So we could play it for Christmas this year. Thinking way ahead. Alright. Long intro. Long fun. Lots of catch up to do. Lots of fun stuff here as I'm in a hotel in the middle of Maine. Well, let's get this going. Not a lot of news, so let's play the drop and move on.
Alrighty.
Alright, so I just wrote down just a couple things that have caught my eye. NVIDIA's GeoForce Now service is out. It's very similar to Google Stadia's, but works, and is actually very affordable at $5 a month. You don't have to pay for the game while paying for the service. And then if you get rid of the service, you no longer own the game that you paid for.
Jeez.
So, really, it's much like Microsoft's Game Pass.
Yeah. Although in that case, you're paying a flat fee for the privilege of playing all the games. But in this case, you're paying for each individual game. Oh, wait. Well, that's for Stadia. We're talking GeForce, right?
Yeah, GeForce.
Yeah.
It looks like they lost Activision Blizzard games, and Bethesda also announced that they're pulling their games from the system.
Correct, and that is one of the main problems, because so it just launched, and these two big companies have pulled their games, while before it launched, they've already lost Capcom, Rockstar, and Square Enix. So, yeah, before even their first month is out, that's 5 major gaming companies that have pulled out from the GeoForce Now service. So it's very unfortunate. It seemed to have a lot of promise, a lot more access, easier access to it than I think Game Pass has, considering that their games are separated. Many of their games are separated between the Xbox console and the PC versions you get. So, I did look into the GeoForce Now service. A lot of their library has been hit, and they're even on record saying publishers are really struggling to come up with a decision whether they want their games to be on GeoForce Now or not. And this is a big hindrance. So I would hold off on getting the GeoForce Now service for the time being, strictly because you don't know if you're in the middle of playing a game and one of these publishers just leaves the service and now you can't finish your game.
Yeah. And I guess their internet requirements aren't too bad. You need 15 megabytes per second for 720 and 25 megabytes for 1080.
Yeah, I mean, I tried it I tried it myself, and yeah, I couldn't get like the 1080 or anything, but it was very functional. I didn't have any issues. It was easy to sign up for. A lot of things worked. Just again, not like their library just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, PC hardware requirements are pretty low. So.
Yep. Yeah, I had no issues, and I'm just on a laptop here, so.
Just see the public statement from Stadia's developers that was incredibly out of touch.
I did not see the statement. What did it say? What did they say?
I'm kind of going off of memory from a Yang Yeah video. Basically, they're talking about, hey, we've got a roadmap in place. These things take time. We just gotta go incrementally. Everything will be added as time goes on. It's like, dude, you launched it already. You should have had it completed by that point. And then they ended. Their ending paragraph literally said, "This is fine. This is great." It's like, wow, dude. You really don't know how this works, do you?
I'm getting some weird feedback on your microphone, Colin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's like someone tapping it a lot.
Oh, I think that was my feet. I was hitting against a chair leg. And then, I just noticed my laptop screen is knocking against the high chair that I've got my mic propped on.
Yeah, we're getting some tip tapping from your microphone feedback there.
Sounds like you're on a helicopter.
Ooh. Good analogy, Joey.
Huh. Well, I'm not moving my feet anymore, so.
Well, it's still happening there. If you want to get out of Discord and come right back, you can try that right quick.
Let me see.
Nice content.
How about now?
He's back? Nah, you're still getting it.
Hmm.
We'll see what happens in post. See if I can get rid of that.
Okay.
Anyways, Animal Crossing had a special direct from Nintendo on February 20th, so that happened. I'm not the biggest Animal Crossing fan, but I did play a lot of New Leaf. I played a bit of the GameCube one. This Switch Animal Crossing seems very promising. Been keeping my eye on it. I'm actually quite excited to play it. Are you guys big into the Animal Crossing franchise at all?
Nope.
Not at all. I know that there's weird-looking animals. That's all I know about the franchise.
Weird-looking animals, a lot of mature, kind of under-the-radar humor to a lot of it. Where there's like an underground turnip selling ring, and if you don't sell enough turnips, then one of the characters will like repossess your house that you've worked so hard to build up. There's quirky things like that in this franchise, but what I found interesting was kind of what they were focusing on for this direct. There's going to be seasonal updates along with free, yes, the F word, free DLC.
Really?
What a concept.
Huh.
There's, of course, a bunch of new quirky characters, aptly named CJ, Flick, Daisy May. It's funny, the article from Polygon that I read covering these characters, they're just like, I guess the other guys got fired and a couple maybe retired. They've been replaced with these new characters, so there's some quirky humor even in the articles. The museum mode is returning. It appears the museum will be empty, and you got to help fill it up. So there's a nice little side content there you can do. A lot of people seem to be happy about that coming back, etc., etc. A lot more news. Looks to be the game people want and more. So that's good news for Animal Crossing.
Nice.
It's one of Nintendo's kind of more ongoing, stronger franchises over the years now. And it coming out on Nintendo Switch just seems like the right move. And it seems like the game is living up to expectations.
All right.
Then, last bit of news. PlayStation seems to be struggling with a price point due to the expensive parts and its cooling system. Apparently, it's costing them $450 just to make it.
Oh, jeez.
So, people are still saying expect a $500 price point. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I'm thinking we could be getting to the $550 range. And if that's the case, that could be a big hit for PlayStation, like in the negative.
Well, it may depend on what kind of games are coming out for it. I mean, if enough really good games or really promising games are coming out for it, then people may not care.
But we've already seen history do this with countless consoles. Once they if they come out with a price point and it seems like that $500, once you go over that number, that's what throws a lot of people off to not get it. We saw it with the PS3. We've seen it with the countless CD systems of the early 90s. It's like that number is the limit to what the average consumer is willing to spend.
Makes sense.
I could see them going with your base model not having their cooling system, and then your higher end ones having that cooling system in. So maybe there's going to be a tier.
I sure hope not, because that's kind of like what we've got with Xbox and its iterations over the years.
Yeah, but
or at least with the one.
That's the only way you can really see them. That's what I can see them doing to keep it down for the entry level price, but.
Well, it's using solid state hard drives, and it's gotta have this cooling system. It was like their big thing, a part of it. That was the part that's kind of their big improvement from previous systems. And a big problem, at least I experienced with the PS3, was in fact its cooling system in the original model.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to keep the fan noise down. But I mean, SSDs are getting cheaper, so that shouldn't be an issue with price. Especially normal SSDs. I don't know what type they're using. You can get pretty good storage size for cheap. The prices have really been dropping the past couple of years.
Yeah, kind of like 4K televisions.
Yeah, because I mean, when I built my computer, I even bought some of the faster SSDs, the NVMe's, and I got a terabyte for $100. So a couple of years ago, that would have cost like $200-$300.
Right. Yeah.
So
to your point,
prices are dropping in that area, but cooling systems, depending on what they're doing, they can get pretty damn expensive.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're doing water cooling.
And then, speaking of games, announced Bulletstorm developer is coming out with a new game called Outriders. It will be coming to the PS5 and the Xbox.
I'm looking forward to that.
This game looks very interesting. It's a multiplayer. How do I describe it? Multiplayer looter shooter, but you can actually. You play through a story and levels with two other friends, so it's double co-op.
Yeah, I want to play that one. I mean, I've been interested in it since E3, because it's being done by People Can Fly, and I frickin' love Bulletstorm. So, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, I watched some gameplay over this over the week. And it looks promising. We'll see if it lives up to it. It looks pretty cool. I love all the special powers that you can give to your character. It doesn't look like it's going to be a microtransaction fiasco. I'm sure there will still be a lot of stuff in it, but from the base game, it looks like there's enough of variety that it's not necessary.
Hell yeah.
So, all right. With that, I will play the next drop, and we can move on to our big, important theme.
Alrighty.
Here we go. Alright, just making my little notes here. Played the Chrono Cross drop, Colin. I'm sure you would like that.
Because I'm the birthday boy?
Yeah, we'll go with that reason. I'm a nice guy. That's exactly why. Alright, so this was Mr. Kevin's pick. He chose Bullet Hell because it was part of his, let's see here. I actually got him, I asked him to write a little opinion write-up over each of the games and why. So he goes, his words, not mine. I always sucked at shooters, but as you guys know me, that's absolutely not news. Because I suck at most to all games that I play. I actually wouldn't have chosen Bullet Hell shooters without my randomizer picking a game for me to play that was, in fact, Bullet Hell. So being that this was my first real experience with them, I understand the addictive nature of them now. In a way, they're almost easier than a standard shooter. You find a rhythm with these games, and instead of a random bullet popping out of nowhere and killing you, you see all these initially intimidating bullets, you find a groove, and fit your ship in there and go to town.
Cool.
So that's the reason. So that's interesting. You find a groove to it all and a rhythm. Are these games harder or easier than regular shooters to you guys?
I find
Harder.
them incredibly harder. I really suck at these.
Yeah, I'm not good at them either.
I found them exactly the same. I get to level 3 or 4, and then I find it impossible to move on.
Yeah.
I
They're
struggle
fun,
getting off level
but
1.
they're hard.
What was that, Joey?
I struggle to get off level 1. Like, I'm really terrible at these type games.
They take a lot of patience and practice. It's just one of those things.
I just
Now-
feel like they're just completely different, because I'm used to just focus on what I want to kill, but these games you have to focus on not getting hit.
Right, instead of what you want to kill.
Yeah.
But there is a rhyme to it. Like, yes, you have to focus on not getting hit. That's the primary reason. But before, like, an enemy starts berating you with a shower of bullets that you must dodge, there are ways where you can, once you go through a level 2-3 times, you're like, okay, I really have to concentrate on getting this guy destroyed first, so then I can properly dodge things around the level for the time being. It's like, just a spoiler, one of the games we played, Ikaruga, was exactly like that. I have to destroy X enemy before the others come, so I could dodge easier as the stage moves on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these games I found to have kind of the same core design. You have 3 ships to choose from, basically, or shooting modes. You have standard, homing, and a spread shot.
Uh-huh.
So, just my, yeah, of course, once you hit level 3 and 4, it's kind of the take my quarters stages, where the difficulty just ramps up threefold over. But there were some games on the list that you're able to get past level 3 and 4 due to just the game getting off the arcade machine onto console. So let's just get through it. I'll go first with Kevin's pick. He chose Chaos Field, a Dreamcast title. Also came out on the GameCube. The GameCube version runs for about $21. The Dreamcast version goes for about $61. Developer is Milestone Incorporated. They're known for a bunch of DS shooters and Wii games. Publisher, there was a few mentioned, but it's really also Milestone Incorporated, so self-published. Released May 25th, 2004. Game clocks in around, I don't know how many hours, wasn't able to beat this. And it wasn't listed on howlongtobeat.com. So unknown. In March, and there is a plot to this game. In March, no. There is. I'm sorry. There's a plot later games. I found an interesting kind of fact about Milestone Inc. in general, because it was a developer and publisher with a direct deal with Nintendo. Hence why it came out on why they developed a bunch of DS and Wii games.
Okay.
In March 2013. Hiroshi Kimura, the president of Milestone, was arrested for violations of the Financial Instruments and Exchange Act for his activities while selling shares of a new company called MS Bioenergy. Both companies were closed as a result. Don't do that. That's not allowed. That's like insider trading type faux pas in the financial world. Anyways, just thought that was interesting. This is a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up with consecutive boss battles. Another notice that bullet hells are usually vertically scrolling as opposed to horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
Game features 5 stages, each with 3 bosses to defeat. The quirks in this game is each ship is equipped with a short-range sword that can destroy bullets. Wonder what game they got that idea from. And inflict damage on any enemy ships. Also have a deployable shield that can absorb bullets. A very important little quirk that you have to use in this game. Its main kind of selling point is you can flip the world at will to the order world or the chaos field. Basically creating a normal and hard mode. Chaos means you do more damage, but the enemies berate you and fire a lot more bullets. It's a one-life system, but you can take hits, so it's not your usual one-hit kill and you lose a credit. But once you get hit X amount of times, your ship does die, and it's based on the one-life system. This is a game entirely of boss battles. So, besides that little part, I was thinking going into this that it could have been like Contra Hardcores, where it's a game of boss battles, but this one just felt way too generic to me. I only played through Phase 2, aka 6 battles. How about you guys?
I didn't play much of it, although I found this one to be the easiest because it was just boss battles, so the patterns were easier to identify.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, one thing about all these games, they have noisy backgrounds, and sometimes I don't know what I can hit and what I can't, and I get lost. But, I don't know. I like the sword idea, killing the bullets, but I don't know. It just felt okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, nothing made this game really stand out completely. You just... Here's a boss fight, or I guess here's a mini boss fight, here's another mini boss fight. Warning! Here's the big boss fight that will cause you to die 6 times until you find the pattern. And it was just rinse and repeat, and I honestly quickly got bored. I didn't feel frustrated or anything because I was dying, it was just... I never felt like I was playing much more than what was in front of me. There was nothing on the surface to it all. Colin, you're back from your piss break.
Yes.
What did you think of Chaos Field?
I wasn't able to play this one because I couldn't find it anywhere, at least not for an affordable price. But I don't know, I don't have much to say about it. I mean, what you see is what you get. It's top down, although of all of the games, this one falls probably the most firmly into bullet hell territory, because there's way more sections involving just bullets filling the screen. And
all right.
I see this one has a mechanic similar to one of our other games, where you sweep projectiles out of the way with energy sabers.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, if you don't have much else to say, I will just say I'm going to fail this game. Didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, definitely failing it.
I'm just kind of neutral on it.
Mr. Neutral. All right, so we'll get into my game now.
Right.
Now, for shooters, there's 2 systems that really come to my mind. And that's the TurboGrafx 16, aka PC Engine, and the Sega Saturn. These 2 systems are synonymous with really, really good shooters and a large variety. So I had to choose not just a Sega Saturn game, but I also had to choose a game by the developer Cave. And this game was called DonPachi on the Sega Saturn. Goes for about $60. The exact translation is Leader B. So I guess kind of an offshoot of the game Twin Bee, which we have covered on the cast.
Oh, yeah.
It's published by Atlas, released November 1995. The game can clock in around 8 hours. Game can clock in around 1 hour. And Cave is actually a pretty famous developer. Not just for shooters, but mostly for innovating the manic shooter, aka what we now know as bullet hell. And this was Cave's first game.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose this one. Because if you look, before 1995, the manic shooter, the bullet hell, as we know it, didn't really exist. Like, you could say, I guess, Galaxian and various stages in a Gradius game or something along those lines in other shooters. You know, you could argue that it's possibly bullet hell, but for what we know, kind of the formula of bullets, bullets overtaking the screen, and you have to use more precise movements and not get caught in this loop where it draws you into death. This was kind of the first one of its kind. This was all about getting the high score this game is based around. Scoring system is known as the Get Point System, GPS, if you will. What you do is you destroy large groups or chains of enemies in a short period of time. Player can build up a number called a combo, similar to the kind found in fighting games. So that's where the whole quirk of this game is. Of course, it has 5 areas. Sound familiar? Which can be looped if the player succeeds in completing them. Then you beat it a second time to face the final boss, the giant mechanical bee the series is known for, called Hachi. It's their trademark boss. Kind of like your Andros and Star Fox kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this actually has a pretty... so I played this game in Japanese, so I had to look up kind of like what words were going on the screen and what they're telling me. And the plot is actually kind of interesting. So, the player assumes the role of a pilot, whose mission is to actually survive an 8-year-long training mission, aka Loop 1, as I will dub it. Then, you play through the game a second time, which is the actual mission. Right?
Yeah.
And when you complete it, that's when you face the final boss. So this basically reveals that all the enemies that you fought in Loop 1 were actually your fellow soldiers training you to become a member of this squadron that's going to take on the final boss. You're killing your fellow soldiers.
Oh, shit.
I thought that was interesting, because it even goes after Loop 1 7 years later, or 8 years later, or something, and then you just replay the whole game again.
Oh, man.
And it's slightly harder, because, you know, as your training is never as hard as, you know, what reality is.
Yeah.
In the actual mission. So I just found that interesting. It was an interesting way to kind of get past certain limitations of instead of creating 10 levels, they created the same thing. They just created a way to have those 5 levels loop on each other. I found the loading screens between levels quite long, actually. Often took at least 20 seconds. So I thought the screen froze a lot of times. What did you guys think of this, as I still have some notes on it, but I want to know what you guys thought of DonPachi.
My main issue is I lost bullets in my attacks, so I died a lot that way. So, I don't know, it was really busy, but, I mean, it wasn't too bad. Probably one of the better ones we played.
Yeah, I didn't get to play this one since I don't have a Sega Saturn, but...
A pattern with you on this cast, Colin.
Yeah, I did get to play 2 of them.
Okay.
If only because they're on Xbox Live Arcade.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, for this one, it honestly pleasantly surprised me. I mean, I wasn't expecting much, but what I saw was pretty neat. I mean, I like that there's a mechanic where you can, like, combine your bombs into your bullet firing to create an extra big screen-clearing stream of energy.
Yep, a very important mechanic you need to know.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. You can, like, alternate between big stream of energy and a wider shot radius. It looked good.
Yeah, so the strategy that I implemented through a lot of these levels were I would use the spread shot on my ship to clear out the smaller enemies, and as soon as I saw a bigger enemy on screen, I would switch to the more concentrated kind of Gundam beam fire of it all to try to take that one out as quick as possible, because if you leave the bigger enemy on the screen too long, then the shower of bullets will come your way. So it's really preventing the bullet hell from taking advantage of you. Because what happens with a lot of these bigger ships is their stream, along with the smaller ones, will end up kind of making you circle around the screen, and then you get stuck in a corner, and that's how they get you.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's always a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
With any bullet hell.
And I also found once you die once, you lose your power-ups. It kind of gets insanely hard. So it's kind of like you can't ever die.
Well, it's the big punishment, right?
Yeah.
But the game does have the system of P's and B's like popping up on the screen, just little bubbles, and that's how you can. I found that you can get your ship pretty powered up fast enough. You just have to survive coming back long enough to get the first 3 or 4 power ups back, and then you can move on. But yeah, once you get to like level 3, that definitely becomes really, really overwhelming. So you need to get your skills up, so to say. I will say that I love the music in this game, as it fit what you were kind of doing in the game. It like the training stage felt like an army training montage type soundtrack. The sheer amount of sound effects in this game was quite diverse. And I don't remember, actually, now that I think about it, if the same music played on Loop 2. I don't think it did, but don't hold me to that one. It just I felt like it was different in my memory. To me, this was a lot like Metal Slug.
Oh, yeah.
So let me tell you why. You get infinite continues, so eventually you'll beat the game, but you die an ungodly amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this one in particular, once Area 4 happened, where like 1 billion airships start coming down to you like on Galaxian.
Oh, yeah.
It was like Galaxian on crack. They just would dive bomb me with bullets, and I'm like, my God, this is where, so stage 4 is where that all happened. So I died a countless amount of times, just kept continuing. It was just like what you would do in Metal Slug, and then eventually you will complete the game, and the final boss is quite fun. It does fall into that ghouls and ghosts, or ghosts and goblins type thing, where you have to play through the game a second time, and you're just like, why?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I actually looked it up, because I'm like, did I beat it? And then they go, no, you have to play through it twice. I'm like, oh, okay. And it only takes you like half an hour to play through the game, so it wasn't that big a deal. So. Most of the enemies' bullets are red, so they kind of pop up on the screen. I know what you're talking about, Joey, with it definitely becomes busy. It's hard to keep track of things.
Yeah, very busy.
But at least the bullets were red, and they were they were more easily to identify than anything I was shooting. But what you're shooting is this giant conglomeration of this giant blue rays or spread shot, and that's when they start mixing over each other, that's when you might miss kind of a red bullet coming at you. So I know what you're saying there. It took some getting used to. I'm going to pass DonPachi, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I give it a pass too, from what I saw.
Barely pass, but I mean, I'm not really going to pass any of these games.
Okay.
So I guess it's...
Alright, Joey.
My game?
Your pick.
Radiant Silvergun for the Sega Saturn, also available on Xbox 360. It's $15 on 360, and is that $280 for Sega Saturn?
That would be correct, sir. At least $280, by the way.
That's ridiculous. Developed by Treasure. I guess they made Gunstar Heroes, Mischief Makers. Released...
Yeah, we've covered quite a few games Treasure's developed over the years.
They also made Sin and Punishment.
Mm-hmm. And it was released summer 1998. I really sucked at this game. Especially since I had trouble seeing what was background and what was things I couldn't touch. So I blew up more times from just the random yellow things than I did bullets.
Don't touch the walls.
Yeah. I don't know, but I did like that there's like numerous different types of attacks. So there's like 3 or 4 different ways you can shoot things. There's one that locked on, the attack, which was a little slow. Then there was the angle shooting green
Mhm.
blob. I think there was 2 forward attacks, and then the sword, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
you could also shoot backwards in this game as well.
That actually, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, so that's how you kill those guns that shoot from behind you. I'm so confused. Like, how do I get past this? I did not last long. I did not beat the first stage. I just really sucked at this.
Oh no, man! You missed like the best parts of the game too.
I'm just not good enough to get to them, I guess.
Yeah, I was playing through the first stage. There's like 5 different stages in it. It's like, and for some reason it starts you off on like level 3. At least like story mode, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of confusing, with its chronology.
All right, Colin, I'm gonna ask you a question here.
Okay.
You played this on Xbox Live Arcade on your 360, correct?
Correct.
Have you tried this game out prior to the podcast?
Yeah, I played it extensively.
Okay, so what this game has is when you play it and you get a game over, it actually keeps your experience level.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So that's why you started out at level 3. It also keeps your weapons kind of leveled up as well. So
yeah,
your weapons max out at level 33. A weird number, I must say. Like, that is a very strange number to be married to. That I can't get stronger than that. But if it got any higher than that, I could see why you would just lose all kind of purpose in difficulty, I guess would be a way to put it.
Yeah, more or less. But yeah, at least I was actually able to play this one. I mean, one thing I liked is, well, you guys said there was like 3 different attacks. It's more like 6, at least from what I saw on the Xbox Live Arcade, because it actually displays on the side of the screen what controls activate what attacks. Like there was one that has like a couple of laser beams kind of moving outward and inward, and then whenever it locks onto something, it like shoots electricity towards it.
Yep.
That was kind of neat. But with the sword spin mechanic, like, you can like hit the trigger and then you get like a little blade swinging around. It's like with certain projectiles, it can actually absorb energy, and then after absorbing a certain amount of energy, you get like this big, huge screen-sweeping blade attack that wipes out everything on screen. So
incredibly useful, especially in boss fights.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the sword mechanic is very innovative in a lot of ways. This is what Chaos Field was missing, was how Radiant Silvergun was able to implement its kind of extra 2 attacks, even with the sword.
Yeah.
And how to utilize it at the right time.
Absolutely. And I noticed with this game, one thing it does that you don't see in many other shoot-'em-ups is that you don't get any new weapons or standalone upgrades to your weapons here. Instead, it works more like an action RPG, with the weapons leveling up with experience the more enemies you kill with them.
Right. And it carries over upon each continue.
Yeah. At least in the story mode. In the arcade mode, it starts you from square one each time.
Right, yeah. So, the arcade mode is kind of your, I want to run 1 credit clear this game situation challenge. I definitely played the more story mode so I can actually get further in this game.
Yeah.
I guess that was my issue. I played the arcade mode.
Ah, you fool. Yeah. I think one of the best quirks of this game was each boss has different segments and appendages that can be destroyed before you can target their weak spot and kill them.
Uh-huh.
And that'll actually give you a lot more extra points and combos based on destroying enemies of the same color in a row as well. So this had the same kind of chain mechanic as DonPachi, but expanded upon it. The sword mechanic in this game was amazing, and we have to talk about how utterly beautiful this game is.
Oh yeah. It's gorgeous. Especially for the time.
Like the music, what it looks like, it is ungodly awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Of course,
so
with how many times I had to replay the beginning of the game, got a little repetitive with the music, but it's such good music that I didn't mind too much.
Yeah, it's very good. The stages were different from each other, lots of variety. I think it was stage 3 in which you have to kind of go through this tightly contested corridor, and there's like things converging on you left and right and top and bottom.
I hate
you gotta
that section.
It's annoying, but remember when we played Salamander for the podcast? Life Force?
Barely.
Well, there's the inside where the walls are closing in on you, and you have to kind of clear them out before you can move on.
Yeah.
I think that's what this reminded me a lot of. Is it's adding more environmental consequences than just avoid bullets. So it really brought in the best of a lot of things from a lot of different shooters and made it into what we experienced here. What a great game!
Oh yeah. Yeah,
but I will say,
pass.
if it didn't have the weapon staying powered up and kind of encouraging the player to keep trying and playing, I would not have fallen in love with this as much as I did.
Yeah.
But because of that, I got to play a lot more than I would normally be able to. Fantastic. Easy pass.
Absolutely. Easy pass.
I'll give it a soft pass. I guess if I play story mode, I would like it more, but the arcade was hard.
Yeah, go back and try story mode for a little bit. See what you think.
Got a bit of a funny story relating to trying to actually play this game. It's my Xbox 360's internet functionality basically gave up the ghost. I couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi at all. But fortunately, my dad would frequently buy Xbox 360 consoles from Value Village. I don't know if you have Value Village in the States.
Yeah, Goodwill type subsidiary type place, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad would occasionally buy Xbox 360 consoles there, and he picked up a Modern Warfare 3 Edition one at one point, and then dug it out of his workshop so that I could actually connect and download the game. And when I hooked it up and hit the power button, it actually makes that little sound that Modern Warfare 3 makes when you activate your night vision, like I thought that was
cool.
really funny.
I like special edition consoles. Make them different from each other. I like that.
And the previous owner accidentally left a copy of Battlefield 3 in there too, so free game.
The fool. All right, Colin, we got 2 more games to go through. What is yours?
Mine is another Treasure game, Ikaruga. Developed by Treasure and published by Sega, released in the arcade in Japan on December 20th, 2001, and later on the Dreamcast in 2002. Though it didn't make it to the West until 2003, and it got ported to the GameCube to do so. And again, I played this on Xbox Live Arcade since I have no affordable alternatives. And I actually have a bit of a history with this one. Back around the time that I went back for my second year of university, around like 2007 or so, I had this one in my possession, but for some reason it went missing before the end of the year, and I didn't notice until I was packing up my dorm room for the trip home. It really sucks, because I really like this one, even though I kind of suck at it. And there's one thing I miss from the GameCube version that the Xbox Live Arcade version doesn't have, is that when you're putting in the difficulty and level at which you start, there would be this little robotic voice that you hear in-game, but in the menu it would be like, level 1, accept, and level 3, accept. And I just kind of miss that. But Yeah, this game is probably the most unique of the cast in that it has sort of a puzzle element to it. Basically, the main mechanic is that you have two energy polarities to your ship. It's like white polarity and black polarity. And you face off against two different enemies of each polarity. With white enemies, you can... Basically, when you're in a certain polarity, you can absorb bullets of that polarity, and then they can charge up a big missile attack. Like, the more bullets you absorb, the more missiles you can fire, and they're all homing ones. But being in one polarity leaves you open to attack from the opposite one. So if you're in white polarity, black bullets will kill you in one hit. So you kind of gotta master the art of switching polarities to absorb certain bullets if you can't avoid them. And then it gets tricky when you have bullets of both polarities firing at you from en masse.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you hit enemies of the opposite polarity, your bullets do more damage, and you score more points. So, I guess it's sort of you creating your own difficulty, or it's like, what matters to you, progressing or scoring points?
Well, definitely for me, personally, progressing first.
Absolutely.
I'll worry about high score later when I get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely care about high score.
The only thing that's kind of lacking is that you don't get new weapons over the course of the game. I mean, you get the same dual stream bullet firing and homing missiles from absorbing bullets, and that's pretty much it. But even with that, it's still a really fun game. I mean, it's just so unique, and the mechanics to it are just... I haven't seen that in any other game that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. This is the spiritual successor to Radiant Silvergun, so very appropriate that we picked both of these. The base game for the GameCube goes for about $40. I actually played this on the Nintendo Switch port.
Nice.
That came out, I believe, last year. And what I liked about it, especially now that I played Radiant Silvergun for the first time, I definitely see a lot of that game in Ikaruga, mostly the level designs, which led to an end boss. And the polarity, instead of the level up system and maneuverability, this uses the polarity system to it, the switching between white and black force, so to say, expanded upon the game. I don't think Ikaruga has as much variety to the game itself that I felt that Radiant Silvergun had. But what Ikaruga does do well is it encourages the player itself for a variety of different game strategies. Like however you want to play it, however difficult you want to make it, and there is a difficulty setting to it all that you yourself can choose. You can do the story arcade mode situation again, where even with the DonPachi situation where you just keep continuing without the game ending. So you can eventually beat this game. I've beat this game before when it came out on the Switch, so I just kind of went down memory lane here for the cast, so I can concentrate on the other ones. Again, this was a case of I was able to practice enough where I could 1 credit clear all the way to level 4, stage 4. And then that's when the stage just really gets absolutely nuts. So very much it sticks to that rule of, hey, now the game's hard situation. But this was the game that I felt like I could get better at as I was practicing. That really has a testament to the polarity system where, with enough practice, switching in and out between them and trying to figure out when would be the better time just to survive, right? It's not about the high scores quite yet. The beginning of getting better at the game. You can feel yourself leveling up, to use so many words. It was very enjoyable. This game is an easy pass but I still think I prefer Radiant Silvergun just for all of the innovations that game brought, and I think it still looks better than its successor.
Yeah. This one doesn't have quite as much color to it.
Right.
That's why I liked it. I thought it was cleaner. This was probably my favorite game that we played of it, and I got it on Steam. I got the demo because I knew I wasn't going to be good enough for the whole game.
Smart man there.
Demo is only the first chapter, but it's only $10 on Steam. But this one just felt cleaner, and I didn't know about the polarity thing at first because I didn't read anything about the game. So I was like, "Why are the red bullets destroying me and the blue ones aren't?" Like,
the
what
main
is
mechanic.
going on? Yeah, well, first time going through, I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." So I don't know. This one just felt cleaner, which is why I liked it. It didn't have so much going on. Although I felt like your ship moving left and right was really slow, but everything else was slow. So if the game could have been sped up like 1.5 speed for everything, I think I would enjoy it more.
Yeah, I feel like the main difference between this and Radiant Silvergun is that Radiant Silvergun is more for experienced players, given how many different weapons you have in that game. And Ikaruga is more accessible, more pick up and play friendly.
That's a very good way to put it. Accessible. Especially for newcomers, yeah.
For sure.
Especially for people who suck like me.
Well, Joey, does that mean you pass this game?
Yeah, I'll give this one a pass.
Alright.
Yay.
Okay, so for the last one, just want to go through it real quick because I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than its absolute absurdity.
Uh-huh.
So, we were talking about what games we want for the Bullet Hell cast, and I was like, man, we have like 2 Sega Saturn games, we got a famous GameCube Dreamcast game combo here, an Ikaruga. We need a PC Engine game, TurboGrafx.
Okay.
So, looking it up, and I come across this game called Ginga Fukei Densetsu Sapphire for the PC Engine CD. Now, how much does this game cost? Well, wait for it as I get to the explanation. So the title translates to Galaxy Policewoman Legend Sapphire. And it's a game dipped in sort of controversy. So yeah, I had to put this game on here because the system is well known for shooters, and this is one of the very few manic shooters. I guess technically it's the only one, right? Which I found fascinating because it would seem like there would be a lot of manic shooters on here, but again, when I did the little research over DonPachi, the manic shooter didn't happen until about 95, right?
Okay.
And the PC Engine was the generation before it, before 95. So this game came at the end of the lifespan of the PC Engine.
Uh-huh.
So, although the gameplay was found to be average, critics concluded that the graphics and sound were of such incredible quality that they made up for any shortcomings in the game mechanics. Okay, so keep that in mind. It was also review-bombed in quite a few articles at the time, as the title was deemed as false advertisement. As many thought due to the anime design and title, it was a dating sim game, and thus got bad reviews. One in particular is famous, I think it was a Famitsu reviewer, who thought it was like this raising girl simulation game, and then it turned out to be this vertical shooter. Yeah, so I found that absolutely hilarious. I tried looking for the review online, I just couldn't find it. Game came very late in the PC Engine lifespan and saw a limited release, and was immediately a collector's item when it came out.
Oh, man.
So it's a rare PC Engine CD-ROM game that few were specifically made for. So, the base game goes for, $1,200 if you're lucky, at a minimum.
That's ridiculous.
Or you can get a reproduction game to play on your Turbo Duo system for only the small price of $110. So even the fake made game is over $100.
Oh boy.
Needless to say, I emulated the fuck out of this game. So I actually think this was the hardest game on the list as well. and it's anime as fuck. Okay?
Yeah.
It's got a bunch of police girls. They're going like kawaii, and they're time traveling. So, of course, it's like a team of 4. There's a time travel plot. It's like every anime cliche you can think of. Oh, and the game's a shooter. So, so when I started playing this, and I read that the graphics and sound were of such incredible quality, I went, well, it looks like a early 90s anime flick in its cutscenes and whatnot. But what really stuck out was this like hair metal intro and soundtrack in this game. Holy shit. Just awesome. It's like the best music I've heard in ages.
Ooh, so much to remake this with baby metal.
Yeah, the anime visuals and that guitar music reminded me so much of Ys 1 and 2.
Yeah. Just so awesome. Now, it says that the sound was such quality. I found the sound effects in this game were so weird.
Yeah, I did not like them.
So you're not used to high quality sound?
That is not how I would describe it. Maybe on a hertz level. But yeah, the way you fire certain weapons, or like when tanks would fire its missiles at you, would make this sound. And that sounds crude, but that's exactly what it sounded like. So, but this game comes at you at 1,000 kilometers per hour pace, just so much to keep up with. As soon as you turn it on, like this game kicked the shit out of me, and it doesn't have that infinite continue system in it. So luckily I was able to emulate it though. But then because it's a bullet hell, I constantly would save state right before a bullet was fucking gonna hit me. I'm like, shit!
Oh no.
So I'd like lose a life right there. It was really, really tough to even kind of play this in a cheap cheesed way.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Couldn't save scum.
Yeah, I couldn't save scum it. It was just way too hard. This game was just a fascinating read for a lot of things, and it really put some perspective over when bullet hells kind of came into kind of its own fruition, and that was DonPachi. And seeing a game like Sapphire here, which is a highly sought after collector's item, it's very expensive. It is like just seeing a game that's reviewed at the time just being a piece of shit, and then just later it's regarded as one of the best shooters of all time. And I'm like, man, I don't see this, because it was just so damn hard, so ridiculous. Just, Joey, you talked about the screen being too busy.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't tell what bullets were coming or going. At all.
Yeah, I just watched a little video on this game. It looks terrible. It looks like a nightmare to me.
Yeah, so
I liked the background visuals. I mean, the city lit up at night below the ship in like one of the earlier levels was really cool to look at.
Well, I mean, that's those incredible quality graphics it was talking about.
Yeah, and the whole bad reviews at first, then good reviews later thing is similar to what Earthbound went through.
Yeah, but I think even at the time, people were like, well, Earthbound's weird, but there's a good game here. This game, like, I just don't like how it plays at all. And even when reviews just go, yeah, I mean, the gameplay's average, but everything else is good, so best game ever? I don't think so. Like, if I'm not having fun with your game, that's a huge strike in my book.
Yeah.
So this was, I believe, the first PC Engine CD game we've ever played for the podcast. It's come with...
No, there's Ys 1 and 2.
Oh, that is a CD game, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
I played the PSP version, so...
I played the emulated version on the Wii Virtual Console.
Wait, was it the PSP version? No! I played Ys 1 and 2 on my Wii U Virtual Console. That's
original Wii for me.
Yeah. So, Colin, I gotta ask, do you pass or fail Sapphire?
From what you're saying about the gameplay being less than stellar, have to give it a soft fail. I mean, its aesthetic is kind of cool, and some of the visuals are good, but if it doesn't play well, then I give it a soft fail.
Yeah, I'm very much of the same mind, because there's a lot of things that appeal to me as a gamer in this and an anime fan, but when I struggle to even get past level 1, because I don't know what the hell's going on half the time, and it's just so fast. Yeah, no, it's just not happening. So, easy fail there. Alright, so, I have the next theme pick, so I'll choose that at a later date. But the games we played were Chaos Field for the Dreamcast and GameCube, DonPachi for the Saturn, Radiant Silvergun for the Saturn, Ikaruga for the GameCube and Dreamcast, and Sapphire for the PC Engine CD-ROM. Colin, give me your favorite, least favorite, and your tier ranking for each game.
Let's see. I mean, for favorite, it's a really close really close contest between Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga. I think, for my own personal enjoyment, I'm gonna give the edge to Ikaruga. It's just more easy to pick up and play, and plus, wait, no, they're both co-op games, right?
Yes, you can play them in co-op.
Yeah. And for least favorite, I'm gonna say Sapphire.
Alrighty.
And tier ranking, Sapphire gets a D, and DonPachi gets a C. Chaos Field gets a C. Radiant Silvergun gets an A, and Ikaruga also gets an A.
Oh, not bad, not bad. Alright, Joey, you're up.
Favorite, Ikaruga. Least favorite, that would be Chaos Field, because I didn't play Sapphire. Completely forgot about it, but that would have been the worst if I looked into that one.
Sure, I understand.
But I'm going to grade it anyway. I'm giving an F to Sapphire.
Hey, how about that?
I'm going to give a D to Chaos Field. And I'm just put C's on the other ones. I just really don't like this genre.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not like you failed them just because you don't like them.
No, but I mean, I just don't think I can call them higher than a C-type game because I don't enjoy them.
Oh. So I was really struggling between my favorite being DonPachi or Radiant Silvergun. But what puts it over the edge is DonPachi. Unfortunately, I have to dock points on the loop mechanic. For its for its other stages. So my favorite is Radiant Silvergun, and my least favorite, before we picked Sapphire and I actually tried playing that game, it was easily going to be Chaos Field because it was just such a bland milquetoast game. But Sapphire, unfortunately, it being so ridiculous, that's my least favorite. So just from top bottom, Chaos Field, I'm also giving that a D. DonPachi, I'm giving a harsh C.
Okay.
Yeah. Radiant Silvergun, I'm giving a solid S tier. I think it's like one of the best shooters I've ever played in my life.
Nice,
Ikaruga,
nice.
I'm giving an A.
Cool.
And then Sapphire, I'm with you, Joey. It gets a fucking F.
Just looks so bad.
Yeah. So those are our games. That was our theme, Bullet Hell. I'm not revealing what the theme is for the next one, because who knows at this point. But this has been the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 62. See you next time.
Bye-bye now.
Bye now.